Welcome to the Bigger, Braver Life show, where leaders and high performers learn to rewire their minds, regulate their nervous systems, and rise into their next evolution. I'm Angela Williams, therapist, leadership coach, and your guide to living, leading, and creating from deep alignment. Because your bigger, braver life isn't about doing more, it's about becoming more of who you really are.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. Today we have special guest Michele Miles here to talk to us about her journey as an occupational therapist and menopause coach and why this is so important for our leaders to take care of themselves and move forward in health. Welcome, Michele.
Hi, thank you for allowing me to come to this show. I appreciate it.
Michele and I met through a networking women's group, and again, just want to promote that. I'm heavy in my in-person networking this season, and it's so helpful to really touch base and connect, especially after we've come off. I mean, st people still are
Yeah.
struggling, working through things from COVID times where we were isolated, right? That's just really, again, another highlight for our social health and our ability to come together, partner, collaborate, and build something new. And Michele's going to tell us a little bit more about something special she's working on. We're working on together as well. So, Michele, I would love to really, I'm going to introduce you. And then I'm going to have you talk to us about why you got into what you're doing, your passion areas. So, She's Balance, founded by Michele Selon Miles, offers holistic support for women navigating menopause. Inspired by her personal journey as a registered occupational therapist, Michele's mission is to provide tools for women to thrive in all areas of life with faith and balance at the core. Guided by love and understanding, She's Balance welcomes women of all backgrounds to embrace this transformative stage. She's a wife, mom of three, and faith-filled Christian. She's excited to share God's word and be a blessing to women in their season of menopause. So, Michele, that was a beautiful intro. Tell us a little bit more about your journey and what brought you here.
So again, we met through Women on the Rise, specifically in Orlando, and I am so incredibly grateful for that group because I think that, we are all different types of women from all different backgrounds with different entrepreneurial goals, and it's been such a blessing. And thank you, Angela, for allowing me to come on this show. I know that you have all the things going on. And the fact that you always make time for me, I mean, it might be a couple days late, but that's okay. You always do. And I love it and appreciate it. So God bless you for that. So again, my name is Michele Miles. I am the founder of She's Balance. And the name itself represents what I am trying to do in my own life and what I want to accomplish in other women's life as well. She's Balance was birthed from me being in tears because it was 2 o'clock in the morning and I was going through perimenopause. And so that is one of the symptoms actually is having to wake up early in the morning at some god awful hour, not being able to think clearly, brain fog, weight gain in the midsection. And so, going through that and praying through that, I realized that this is something that I want to be able to be a blessing to other women so that they don't feel alone. And being part of Women on the Rise has definitely helped because it has allowed me to connect with different people and grow my business. Because not only am I going through perimenopause, but I decided, oh, now I have a business. And so learning how to navigate those waters, it's not easy and you need community, right? And so I think that as a leader, you want to find community because it's a mind shift. It's a mindset game right now. You know what I mean? So you have your health situation going on, you have your family, you have your husband, and you want to have time for everyone, also have time for yourself. But you also need to be surrounded by individuals who are going to lift you up. And I think that that's one of the reasons why I connect with Angela and Women on the Rise is because we know we're not perfect, right? We know that we're all going through different situations. And as a mental health care counselor, I'm sure you understand that more than anybody, that sometimes people need to kind of just take a step back and realize, okay, I am not a superwoman. I'm not going to do all the things. I'm going to need help. And it's okay. It's okay to ask for help, whether it's mental health counseling, whether it's exercise, whether it's just prayer, spiritual guidance. Because for me, I need all the things. I need all the things.
Yes, and thank you for bringing that up. So, on this show, I want to kind of make a couple points here is that we're looking at the leader as a holistic human being. And so,
Right.
specifically, Michele's work is with women, but I think it's really important that we tie in all of the elements of being a business owner, a leader, a CEO, a human being. We do have health going on. We do have our families that we're
Right,
attending to. We do have our partners, right? We have our businesses or careers, whatever that looks like. And, we really support that care of the holistic person, meaning we know you're not just one dimensional. We know that there's a lot that's going on. And, I appreciate the plug for, community support because I do think, and professional support, right? Because I think we all need
yeah,
that in some way, shape, or form,
right.
whether it's an admin assistant or a perimenopause coach, right? So whatever
Exactly.
it is. So thank you for sharing that too. And I do want to say, on this show, we look at such a wide range of leaders. We've got leaders, of all backgrounds, of, all different belief systems. And so, that again represents that we are all our unique individual beings.
Right.
So thank you, Michelle. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about, taking that journey from the occupational therapist to perimenopause coach. How has that been?
Well, there's a lot, as you know, when you start your own business and you do not want to pull your hair out because, there's the marketing side, there is the back house. You need to make sure that your business is in order, that your finances are in order, that you don't overspend, underspend, that you have a level of understanding of kind of all the things. You don't necessarily have to be great at it. You know what I mean? Like, I know for me, like, I am not a CPA. I realize this. So I need QuickBooks because I need QuickBooks to make sure that my balance is in order. Or you can, if you're not mindful and paying attention to different things like taxes. If you don't pay your taxes on time, we had a conversation about this. You can, owe to the government. And the Bible is clear, do not owe man anything. So and give to Caesar what is Caesar's. Jesus was very clear on that. So you make sure you pay your taxes or they will come after you. And so as an occupational therapist, it was I would say actually kind of easy. You go in, you clock out. I'm done. I get paid. When you are a business owner, there is so much more stress that's placed on top of you to make sure that your the back of the house is in order, the front of the house, that you are marketing yourself well, you have the right branding, which represents you. So I would say to any leader that it's okay that you don't know everything. So you want to find the right community, like I mentioned before, to help you in that space. I know that there were different individuals that I had to pull from and say, hey, I don't really understand this. Can you help me out? Help me understand. And also, as I start to level up, as we all start to level up, we all kind of get a better understanding. I took business classes. I wanted to make sure that I kind of had a broad scope of what was going on, because as a business owner, you can be great and passionate about your product, your services. However, if you don't have your finances are in order, then it will flop. We want to be passionate, but you also have to be mindful and use good wisdom in what you're doing and the product that you're putting out, right? And the services that you're putting out. And so I would say that as an occupational therapist, transitioning to being a full-time entrepreneur, it is difficult, but it's also, I would say it's kind of fun because I know that this is all mine and I'm putting as much effort. The amount of passion and effort that you put in is what you will get out.
We actually just had a conversation about this earlier in a networking group, and it was really about how, we are starting, as we pivot away from maybe a 9 to 5 or
Yeah,
corporate job or something like that, right?
yeah,
That it's like we feel like we're brand new and we're starting these new adventures. And yes, there is a lot to learn because, when you're able to clock in and out of a job, you really have focused on your specialty,
yeah,
maybe not have focused on, the 50 other things that it requires to market and run and,
yeah, all
keep
the
their
things.
business alive right now.
Yeah,
We also talked about the importance of transferable skills and how in my one of my previous roles I did a lot of speaking training. I had to do marketing. I really had to do a lot of things that
right, right,
did set me up for success here. And so I think that's another piece that's really important too is like what can you remember from or pull from to bring to the table here. So what would you say
right.
you're pulling from your occupational
Previous.
therapy to your coaching business?
Well, you know what? I would say the piece that I love and can do with my blindfolded is the people piece. I have no issues with talking one-on-one with individuals. I know where I'm strong. So you have to know where your strength lies, right? And then the other component is knowing the business part of it, how to market, how to find your target audience. That's key. If you can't find your target audience, then you don't know how to market to that audience and get the necessary funds. Because at the end of the day, just like you, I want to be able to meet my goals. I want to be able to make a certain income to support myself, to support my family. And all those things are good things. And I think that sometimes as women, I can't speak for the guys, but as women, that is not something that we're educated on. That's not something that you're really always encouraged. Like, oh, you can own your own business. No one ever told me that. Actually, it was another woman, business leader who was just like, Michelle, you can own your own business. I'm just like, I can own my own business. And that really encouraged me. The group that we're in, one of the sayings that we say at the end is that we don't compete, we complement, right? And so I love that because if I have a friend of mine that we used to work together in a nursing home, she is starting her own business, pelvic health education, coaching. And I was like, yeah, I love that. I connected her with somebody else who's, you know, three, four steps above her. And I think that that's what we need to do is like we can network as much as possible. But if you see somebody who is just starting out, encourage them, bring them alongside of you. You know what I mean? It's just like, you got this. You can just, someone did it for me. I want to reach back and make sure that I can encourage somebody else that you can do it too.
And aligned connections, what I heard too,
Yeah.
right? A lot of aligned connections would be helpful. And so how old is your business right now?
A year.
So we got a newish baby business,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
very excited for Michelle. But Michelle, what I would love to hear more of too, can you tell us more about the kind of like the signs for perimenopause for women, what to look for, and how can that affect female CEOs? Because that's kind of the groups that we're in, right? And so
Yeah.
I'm hearing different things. So I just want to hear what your thoughts are, and I'll share what I've been hearing as well.
Okay, so when it comes to perimenopause and transitioning to menopause stage, the key things that you want to look for are you want to make sure you check your lab work. You want to make sure that your estrogen has three different types. And so you want to ask your doctor to check your hormone levels, the estrogen specifically, and make sure that everything is as on level. But I would say personally, myself, I've checked, my doctor checked actually, and it was normal. However, sometimes your lab work won't match how you're feeling. And what those symptoms are headaches, brain fog. You walk into another room and you're like, where did I leave those keys? Right? But brain fog, the lack of concentration. So you remember like, oh, wow. A couple months ago, I could remember things so clearly, sharply, and you can't remember your kids. Like it's at the tip of your tongue, but you can't like figure out what that word is. So some women actually feel like they're going through dementia. It's not.
You
You're
know what, actually, I'm
mm,
thinking of as you're talking about this, is I'm
yeah,
thinking of after I had my son. So,
yeah,
he's only 19 months, so it's pretty recent still.
yeah,
And, with a mixture of a lack of sleep and I think, the hormones and just
yeah.
kind of everything going on, the brain
Mhm.
fog was so heavy. I could not sometimes finish a sentence. Like I just did not have
Exactly.
words. It was
Exactly.
very off.
Exactly. So this is because an occupational therapist, I love science. Science is my jam. So when we have had a baby, we do go through a little bit of like a mental disclarity, but it comes back. So your ability to focus and concentrate, that will come back. However, now I'm 43. I don't mind sharing that. So as we transition into like perimenopause, your brain chemistry is actually changing, and they can actually see that. And so that's when now you have another shift of lack of clarity, lack of concentration, lack of focus. And it's because you're entering the perimenopause stage. That also will go back to normal once you're done with menopause.
Oh,
So,
wow.
however, one of the things, and however you feel about this, some people, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or a thought leader, business leader, there's certain different things that you can take, the whole holistic approach, right? Some people don't like hormonal drugs, and you don't have to. I personally, I'm taking the hormonal drug because I don't have a history of cancer. And so HRTs, hormonal drug therapy, has found that it will help protect your body, your brain, right? Because of the lack of estrogen that you're having. Some other symptoms are the headaches, the weight gain in that midsection that I mentioned earlier, also tenderness in your boobs, itchy skin. it can be part of that as well. There's a lot of different things, vaginal dryness, low libido, hyper libido. Most women have the low libido and the vaginal dryness and those different things. I'm sure I'm missing a couple. There's a lot more. And it's okay. Like a lot of that stuff that you can kind of work with. And I think that as a menopause coach, that's why I love what I do is because like I can help guide you through the process and let you know that it's okay. It will get better. And there's different things that you can do, to help you manage those symptoms.
Thank you. And do you recommend? So I'm a person who loves doing, the more natural routes and things. I was actually, when I was talking to a colleague, I was like, I'm gonna be doing all the acupuncture, all the herbs, all the things, right? Because like that's
Mhm.
just where I like to go with my go-to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on those types of interventions and what do you recommend for people?
So I totally understand wanting to be natural because of course, we're all different in our scope, how we think. And so some things people feel like with endocrine disruptors for our bodies, you don't want to really put anything in your body that could be harmful. And I totally honor that and respect that. And so in my line of work, I have done research on that. There are non-hormonal drugs, estrogen. Estrogen is a really good one that is soy free that you can take to help with managing those symptoms. And if it's not estrogen, there's a whole bunch of other ones as well. So there's not just like one thing on the market, there's some different things. Acupuncture. So I personally have done acupuncture. And so I definitely recommend it. And acupuncture is not just for pain relief, you can also use it for menopause relief as well, right?
Yep, I
Um,
I
and-
currently so I've used
oh,
acupuncture for a couple years now, and I
yeah.
currently use it for a few different things. So I do believe I've seen the results.
When I looked it up, I was actually on a cruise with my husband. We were celebrating our 14-year anniversary, and there was an acupuncturist there who said that she had issues with insomnia. She had insomnia for years, right? And so she said that the acupuncture helped her with that. And so I was like, "Oh my goodness, yay!" So I did my homework, I researched it, and I looked it up, and it was like they also can provide you with teas that are non-hormonal. Yeah. So you can take that as well. And so there's essential oils that you can use. Listen, I use the oils. I rub that oil on and I find relief from that too. So the thing is with African American women, when we go through perimenopause, our symptoms are more severe and intense. And so at first I didn't understand like why I needed all the things, but I need all the things because my body is just experiencing those symptoms a little bit more severe than my other brothers and my other sisters. So, but it helps me and exercise and doing the type of exercise that I would recommend is the strength training. And that is actually what's recommended. So, strength training, resistance type exercises, even HIIT. So, high intensity exercises are beneficial as well. And your supplements, we got to take our supplements. Creatine is so good for the brain. And I don't think people understand that the research, creatine is actually the most well-researched supplement out there. I give it to my daughter because she has a memory retention issue. And so she has actually benefited from taking creatine, omega-3. I take cod liver oil. Back in the day, they would give you a spoonful of cod liver oil. It's like, no. So now you can just you can just take the supplement, the pill, and it's good for your respiratory system. It's good for moving those bowels because sometimes as ladies we have a hard time, and it's also good for your overall menopausal health. And primrose. So primrose oil is good too. And I love my teas. So you have raspberry tea. Hibiscus tea is the best and it's also really good for the heart. One of the things that really, if anybody takes anything from this, is that our cardiovascular health as women actually increases. Okay, because we're just kind of go through all the things. Not only are we going through perimenopause, this is a transition in life right now that we are switching careers. We're being caregivers for our parents. And so a lot of that stress is affecting our hearts. And I can't stress this enough, the mental health component, right? And so
Are the
I
mental health champion. I'm gonna say Michelle also is such a champion for mental health, and I love that. Love that about you.
I see a mental health counselor personally, and I encourage that because, you know, can I be honest? I used to think that if you saw a mental health counselor, it had to be something traumatic. You had to have something really severe that happened into your life. And that is not the case. That is absolutely not the case.
Yeah.
I'm Haitian American. It's almost taboo. Like, oh, you're seeing a counselor, and I remember I said this to a friend of mine, and I really had to walk it back because it's not just for individuals going through PTSD or something severe that happened to you, which if that's what's going on, please do. You know what I'm saying? However, I know for myself that as a mom, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm trying to work out my own life and be as balanced I can be. My mental health is everything.
Yes.
It's everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because otherwise our
Yeah.
brain would be like in pieces all over the place, right? Like,
It is. And just a couple weeks ago, I was feeling unbalanced. Like I was doing all the right things. I was praying, and then I kind of broke that down to my counselor, and she was saying that, listen, Michelle, what were you doing when you felt balance? She just kind of brought me back. Sometimes you need, I mean, having girlfriends are great. Don't get me wrong. It's good to have girlfriends. However, sometimes your girlfriends can be not so objective, right?
we're a little biased, right? We could be a little biased for our friends.
And we try to do the best that we can. However, sometimes you need somebody who's skilled at what they do. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that after the conversation that I had with her, she gave me some different strategies, some different tips and techniques. And listen, I've been using it, and I feel like I'm back to where I need to be.
Awesome. That's great. I had a
Mhm.
follow-up question actually on something you said earlier. Was it shown in research, or how did you find out that part about where African American women have more severe peri and menopausal symptoms?
So through research, I have found this, and there's actually a really great special right now that Oprah Winfrey just did.
Okay.
You can find it on Hulu. And so she's not paying me or anything, but she she had some doctors on her show, and they confirmed this as well. And if you Google it or you look it up, it's just they don't know why. There's no reason why our anatomies are the same. However, for some reason, African American women, we just go through perimenopause a little bit more severe when we go through it.
Thank you
So
for sharing that. Yeah, because I'm sure that's a fact that people don't like commonly know.
I think the more you know, the better, right?
Exactly. And the case for, sometimes we've got to give ourselves permission to get the support and care that we need and right and guilty about it because
Yeah.
so I think that's another piece is too is like let's give ourselves permission to get all of the support that we can.
Well, I have an amazing husband, and I know that it's and just like any of your leaders who are listening, or someone in the audience, is that you have to sometimes over communicate with your spouse and let them know, hey, this is what's going on with me. I have this vaginal dryness, and this is why this is uncomfortable for me. Or when you touch me, that sense of touch might trigger me in the sense I'm thinking, oh, you want to be more intimate, and maybe they just want a hug. Sometimes our husbands can be, they just want to cuddle. They don't necessarily want to go all the way, and it's okay. You just have to communicate with them because the divorce rate for individuals going through perimenopause are a little bit higher only because there's a lack of communication, right?
Wow, that's another great point. And we're talking about life transitions, we're talking about relationships, like so many pieces here.
Yeah,
And I think this is such an important message to share because again, for folks who maybe are approaching this or going through it or maybe are kind of in the midst and or have gone through it,
yeah,
really bringing a lot of understanding and awareness. So thank you so much, Michelle. As we're kind of wrapping up our time today, like, do
yeah.
you have any other pieces of wisdom or information or things that you want the audience to know?
Yeah, for me, I provide a free 20-minute consultation so that you can kind of get to know me, I get to know you and see if we would be a good fit together. And so if you go on my website, shesbalance.com. So on shesbalance.com, you can sign up and we can set up a meeting where we can talk about what you're going through, if I'm a good fit for you to kind of help you through the process. And I will say this, I am praying for every one of your audience members right now because I think that this is such a great opportunity for everyone to learn, grow, and be a blessing. So if this information maybe it doesn't resonate with you per se, share it with somebody else. Share it with somebody else who oh, I have that friend that she really needs to hear this. Share it with that person. You know,
Absolutely, yes. I mean, the thing about being a leader is that we hold many responsibilities, we wear many hats.
right.
There's just so much going on at all times. And, to lighten the load to make something a little bit better. I mean,
Right.
let's invest in ourselves, right? So that's my message that I want folks to take away. And, leading a business, being in the C-suite, being responsible for other people, your families, right? All of these things, let's talk about this more, right? Like let's be open, let's share resources. And Michelle is available, right, to help. And I think another piece too is that, I hate to see, where we're not kind to ourselves during these transitions, or, because we don't understand them, or just because it can be frustrating, right? So getting all the support, mental, emotional, physical, the coaching, the therapy, all of those things that, yeah, it can definitely cause a strain on, like you said, relationships, careers, etc., especially when you're trying to be at your tip top mental shape, but
Yeah,
it feels hard to do that.
I totally agree with you. And I think that there's a shame for some women too, is that there's this expectation of being, I think I mentioned earlier, of being superwoman.
That's right.
We are not.
Right.
I will tell you right now, we are not superwoman, and you don't have to pretend to be. When you are honest and authentic, I think that that comes across, and that's what makes you a great leader. As an occupational therapist, I never tried to lord over people. Do you know what I mean? I was always authentic, like, hey, what is going on with you right now? And when you look down deep into that person's heart and and pray for the people that you're working with who are below you, pray for the people that are above you. Because you never know. Everyone's going through something.
Yes, that is
Everyone's going through something.
right. Thank you so much, Michelle. This is beyond helpful and supportive, and I'm really excited for everyone to get to listen to this. If you could just give us a quick reminder of maybe where folks can reach you on socials, they're going to have everything else in the show notes, but just one more time of where they can best reach you.
Yes, I believe I am on all the social media platforms. So I'm on TikTok, I have a YouTube platform, I have Instagram. I'm really digging TikTok. So that's where you can find me, and I give tips and techniques of different things that you should be like working on, the supplements. Sometimes I have quiet moment. Sometimes I think it's okay to shut out the noise and tell your kids and your partner, like, listen, I gotta go. I gotta go for a prayer walk. I gotta, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
just take a moment for yourself to decompress. And that was one thing that I learned from my counselors, that after I shut down from work, because I work from home, I don't know about everybody else, but I work from home, I go right into my mommy role. And it wasn't healthy. It wasn't healthy. I had to step away, take 20 minutes, go for a walk.
Yep.
And my husband respected that,
That's great.
So again, if I have a Facebook page, Instagram, all the things.
Yeah. So another more great arguments for choosing that wonderful partner, taking breaks for yourself, caring for
Yeah.
yourself holistically. Thank you again, Michelle. I'm so excited that everyone can hear these wonderful tips and connect with you. And we'll see you all in the next episode.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Bye, everyone. God bless you.
You're not here for surface level success, you're here to expand. Visit angelamaria.co, where you'll find retreats, private coaching, and resources to expand your capacity and lead with calm, clarity, and authority. If this conversation moved you, make sure to share it with a leader who's ready for more.